Hey everyone, Charles here. And first of all, thank you for stopping by my podcast. If this show inspires you, makes you think, or gives you that courage to jump into action, please help by donating to this show. Click the link in the description and donate. Your donation helps us with production and finding great guests moving forward. Thank you and enjoy.
You know you should be doing something different, right? Hey, I'm talking to you. Do you believe that you have the gift for greatness or have a special talent, but don't have the courage to take that next step? Always wondering how others made it look so easy? Well, welcome to Jump, the show that will bring you special guests just like you and me. How'd they get the courage to jump into greatness? Doing what they love and living the good life. So, get ready to jump with your host, Charles Matthews Jr.
Yes, we are back live, and thank you for joining us. I want to bring into you my special guest today. Please give him a big round of applause. How you doing, sir?
Great. Thank you very much, Charles. I'm glad to be here.
Hey, man, it's great to be back on the microphone. We took a break for a while, and, we just said, we got to get back. People are looking for content and looking for great inspiration on what they're doing and new businesses. And that's what, I had you as my first guest back in the new year. So, I can't wait to dive into your story a little bit, and hopefully it would help you and help other people as well.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
So give us a little background on yourself. Born and raised, where are you from?
Well, I'm originally from Afghanistan. I was born and raised up. I was in Afghanistan until I was 11 years old, and I was born in central Afghanistan, unfortunately one of the poorest countries in the world. And my village was one of the isolated region in Afghanistan. So I was born in 1973, so I'm close to 40 years old.
So growing up in Afghanistan, tell us about your childhood. Like, what was your dream? Like, what was your vision of becoming, and what did you want to do?
Well, Charles, unfortunately, I was born paralyzed from waist down. Because we had no access to hospital or doctor, nobody knew what was wrong with me. So everybody accepted me as being paralyzed, and so did I. And that's how I entered this world.
Wow.
Believing that I'm going to live paralyzed for the rest of my life.
So you come in this world paralyzed. At that time, like you said, there's no resources there. There's nothing that you can think of doing. There's no one's like, oh, take him here or take him there. Let's find out what's the problem. So you live your life going forward for that long. What was the next step after that?
Well, I always had this question, right? I saw other kids running and playing, and I had this question: what's wrong with me? And that's the question that I raised with everybody, with my parents, with my neighbor. What's wrong with me? Why can't I walk? And I have legs, and they're growing, but I can't walk. It doesn't make any sense. Everybody said it is God, because of God. It's what is God's doing? So don't ask that kind of question. That'll be an ungodly question. So I stopped asking. So the whole thing changed, Charles, when I was 5 years old. When I was 5 years old, my mother put me outside the house. She made a blanket out of this all discarded clothes, and she put me on it. Don't move. She would always tell me, don't move, just stay here. Because I had nothing to do. I wanted to crawl out of there. I wanted to explore, but so, and I stayed there. My brother came with a knife, and he was making something with a piece of wood, but he forgot his knife there. And I was glad that he did, because that kept me busy, So I picked up a piece of wood and tried to make a toy out of it. And all of a sudden, it slipped. I cut my index finger to the bone.
Oh.
And I was 5 years old, and I was scared, because back then, if I did anything wrong, I was punished. And so, and I held it tight, and I cut a piece of cloth from the from the blanket that my mom made, and I wrapped it around my finger, and I held it tight. And the next day I watched the bleeding stopped, and then the next day I just keep watching it. I was mesmerized by looking at it every day, that it started healing itself. The wounds closed, and what happened? And I was wondering what happened. Who did this? And that's when my question started. Who did this? Who fixes this stuff? And I asked my mom, Mom, who fixed this? And my mom always, of course, it's God. Who else can do that kind of stuff?
Right.
Then I said, okay, it's God. And I didn't ask any questions. Till one day my mom was praying, and then she asked God, God give me this, God give me that. All of a sudden something struck in my head. It says, I never prayed for this. My mom never prayed for this. How did God know that I was injured,
Right.
So, and then I told my mom, I don't think of it as God. But that's when I get punished, for asking such ungodly questions. She said, never question that. But I realized something. I never ask questions anymore, but I realized something. There is something inside me, something inside me that is helping me to cure, to live, to be healthy. There is something inside me. What is it? I have no idea. And that's as and what I see today in today's world, I see people don't believe that there's something inside that always helps them. They always look outside, right? But for me, I thought there's something inside me, and if that thing can heal this wound, this cut, I am sure it can fix my legs.
Right.
But how? I had no idea. I couldn't ask anybody, and nobody knew what it was. Then I thought, okay, well, maybe I'll just talk to it. And I kept talking to myself, come on, please fix my leg. I know you can hear me. I know you can do this. You help everybody else. Please do it. And I've been doing that for weeks and weeks. And nothing happened. And then I thought, well, something is wrong. Maybe this thing inside me, they're young, they're child. They don't understand me. So maybe I'll massage my legs and talk to it. And I massage my legs and talk to it. And that, that didn't work for weeks and weeks. And that, okay, maybe it doesn't know what I'm trying to tell it. Maybe if I'll just stand up on my feet and try to stand up on my feet, try to walk, then it'll know what I'm trying to do. And then I asked my brother, my father, can somebody please hold me up? So why? He says, because I want to learn how to walk.
Okay.
And they said, come on, just sit down. I said, no, please, somebody, please help me. Nobody did. I yelled, I screamed, and I begged, nobody did.
Because in their eyes, you can't walk.
Exactly. I can relate. I still can relate to that. And when I'm a life coach as well. And when I coach people, and I still relate to that. People, they always looking for the outside to help me, please help me. And right. They have a dream. They have a big dream, but nobody believes them.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a big dream, I want to do something. I want to change the world. I want to be rich, whatever it is. And the first person who stops you are the family. Says, what the hell are you talking about? Out of all those people, you forget about it. Mm-hmm. And that's what happened to me from a very young age. You want to walk, God has made you paralyzed, and you want to fight against God is doing. And that was the verdict, basically. Just shut up. But I couldn't. I that's all I had. That's the only hope I had.
Yeah.
So, and then I said, okay, how am I going to do that? How am I going to do it on my own? So
here's I want to jump in here real quick, because I've talked to many people. I've done many interviews, and that's the same thing, that you'll always have dreams, things that you want to do.
Yeah. And
people will be like, oh, why would you want to do that? Why would you want to take a chance? Oh, don't worry about that. Like, I want to write a book. You sure? It's hard work. You know what I mean? Are you sure you can do it? Instead of encouraging, oh, you want to write a book? Hey, I'll help you find some authors, or maybe we can research together, or we can do this together. There's nobody that always there to help you push to the next level.
Exactly, Charles. And so we'll be jumping back and forth. Hopefully it's okay for the show, for the audience. That's the biggest problem we have. We have about 80% of the population, right? They fit perfectly in a normal life. They're fine going to doing whatever they do, get a job, whatever standard life is at that society. They're okay with that. And they like it. They're okay. But this 20%. And just like you and me yourself, the only reason you have this show because you want to do something.
Right.
You want to change the world. But this 20% doesn't fit anywhere. And they don't like school. This 20% do not like school at all. No. Okay. So, and why? Because the school doesn't take them where they want to go. So now imagine who's the first person? Who are the first people who will punish them or force them into conformity? It's the family, the parents. Now imagine they have a tough time at home, and they go to school, and they do not do a good job at school, and they have a tough time there. They have nowhere to go. They have nowhere to go, and that's why a lot of people give up, because they don't have anything. So this is the story that I'm going to tell. The story that I'm telling, that says no. You can rely on yourself.
Yes.
The minute you rely on outside world for support, once it is not there, then you're done.
Yeah.
Basically, you give the power, you give your future, you give everything to them, and they decide. Once they decide against you, and you're done. But if you believe there's something inside you that will find ways, it will. Trust me, it will. That's what the story is all about.
So you're at this point now. You ask them to help you stand. No one's helping you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're doing it on your own. What happens next?
Yeah. Then I looked around myself. We lived in one room, and it was a mud house, so we're really poor. So, and I found the door handle, and I said, "Wow, I could lift myself. I could hold the door handle and lift myself." And I crawled to the door handle, and I held it, and I tried to lift myself up, and I couldn't. I couldn't lift myself an inch. So I realized that how difficult it was, but I didn't give up. I kept holding it, trying to lift myself up till I broke the door handle, and obviously I was punished for that, for breaking the door handle. And then they told me never ever try to touch anything again, and I had, what am I going to do? And then I looked for everything. If it was the table, if it was anything, I almost broke everything in that room. So this is the price we need to pay. Yes. If you have a big dream, my friend. But not everybody is ready to pay that price. They pay the price just enough that they say, okay, I can't do it anymore. But no, and as long as you understand that this is okay. If I have this dream, I want to do this one, and I have a hard time getting it. I don't have any support, and I've been trying and trying. Then you can tell yourself, oh wow, that's why people quit, because it is hard. That's why I'm not going to quit. So that's what this realization that, wow, this is how people quit. This is why people quit, because they cannot take it. It actually makes you more strong. It makes you feel strong. Okay, I'm going to do it. I will do it. And that's exactly what happened to me. Unconsciously, though, I didn't know this stuff, because I believed that I can. And I doesn't matter how much they punished me. I continuously did that. And they finally kind of give up on me and says, okay, what do you want? They asked me, what do you want? I said, well, if I'm not allowed to touch anything in the room, you guys have to build me something outside the house that I could hold on to, that I could, try to stand on my feet and try to practice. And that's what my brother built me, this like a gymnast has 2 poles.
Yeah.
And I thought I could hold on 2 sides and try to lift my weight up, and they built me that. And I tried it when they built me. I was so excited when they built me. This is what happens when we have dreams, Charles. We have a dream, we have a goal. It says it just feels so excited, so good. I was, when my brother was building it, I was sitting there. I couldn't wait to use it. And when I went to try to use it, I failed. It didn't work. I still couldn't lift myself up. That's the feeling. That feeling of failure discourages so many. Oh, my parents were right. No. That means that you can open your mind. That means that failure means that you have to learn, okay, this didn't work. What is next? Next? So my next idea was, okay, I'm going to beg my brother, beg my father, beg my mother, anybody else, my cousins who visited, please, can you guys just lift me up, and as long as I stand there, I can hold my weight there. Charles, nobody did. That's how lonely sometimes life gets, That's how lonely. You look around, there is nobody.
So even though they built you the system, even though the system's there, they're not willing to help you put you onto the system.
Exactly, because they don't believe in what I believe. They don't believe in that. And for example, now when people told me, oh, my parents do not believe me, I said, that's fine. That's okay. Back then I was a kid. I didn't understand why, but now I understand. And for your audience, say, okay, it is okay for them not to understand you. It is not that they're against you. It's just they don't understand you. They don't believe in you. So it means that it is your job. It is your job to do whatever you need to do. It is your job to make them understand that what you want to do instead of getting angry at them. Okay. So but I was angry at them. I was young. I didn't know. I said, what the heck? Why they are not helping me? It is so easy for them to just lift me up. And I would sit there and I would cry and I would try. And I failed 100 times. Then I came up with one more idea. I said, okay, since you guys are not helping me, why don't you build me like 2 steps that I could lift myself up, sit on this one and the other one, then maybe I can stand up. And that failed too. But I kept doing it. They asked me to, okay, you come home. It was 30 Celsius outside, and they asked me to come home. I said, no, I'm not. Either you guys help me, or I'm sitting here. I'm going to die here. But I'm not going to come home. You guys need to help me. Okay, but anyways, nobody did. But I kept trying. I kept trying. There were bruises all over my body. I did it for 2 years, Charles. 2 years. Now imagine paying the price for what you want in your life for 2 continuous years. And I did that. When I was 7 years old, 7.5 or so years old, I fell one more time. And this time I felt pain in my knee. And that's when the whole thing changed.
Yeah, because hold on. Why are you feeling pain in your knee? If you have no feeling, where's this pain coming from?
Yeah, well, I felt pain. For the first time, I felt pain. How? I don't know. That's a mystery. I have no idea. I've asked so many doctors when I came here, or what was wrong with me. He says, I can't tell you. I don't know what was wrong with you. Maybe when you were young, when you were born, you were mishandled. I don't know. The nerve was pinched or something. I don't know. I don't know. Nobody knows. But when I felt the next morning, I felt my toe moving. Okay, so and then I realized, wow, I'm getting something, and it took me about almost a year to walk from that day on.
And what was the age?
I was about close 8.5 years old when I actually walked.
So for 8 years, the dream was to walk, and then finally there's a small breakthrough, and finally it grows, and then now you are here today walking. Yeah.
Not just walking. I became a competitive squash player.
Okay. So you took it to the next level.
Yeah, exactly. So Charles, when I did that, so I realized, wow, if I can walk, if I can do this, teach my legs how to walk, I can do anything in the world. I can do anything. I realized that my parents were wrong. I realized the society was wrong.
Right.
I realized their belief was wrong. So I became a kind of rebellion. I never listened to them anymore. Okay. When I was 8.5 or so years old, when I got my mobility back, and my parents said, okay, now you have to send you. There was no regular school. They said you have to go to the mosque and study the holy book, Quran. And I said, okay, I'll go. I didn't know it, so I'll go. It's okay, fine, I'll go. So. But I couldn't memorize the Quran. It was in a different language. I didn't know it was in Arabic. Back then, I didn't know it was in Arabic. I didn't know Arabic was a language. They just asked us to memorize it. And I had a hard time memorizing it. And I was punished on a regular basis. I was beat. This mullah, this clergy who taught the Quran, he would physically beat you. He had sticks and he would beat the palm of your hand or feet on a regular basis. When I came home and I told my parents that, they said, well, you deserve it. You deserve it. And then one day I said, I'm not going.
That's it.
That's it. I said, I'm not going. So, and they punished me at home as well. But they said, okay, you better go. You have to go. That's Charles. That's when we're conformed. They force us, and this 20% that I'm talking about, everybody tries us to conform with the rest, and when we don't, and that's when the problem starts. That's when the price you have to pay. Depending on society, the prices could be different.
But the part that I don't foresee and understand is you've been telling them for years, I can do this. If you help me out, I can do this. And they're saying no, and you get punished for it. But after you get up and do it, they don't say, well, maybe he's got something here. Maybe we might need to listen to him and follow him, and maybe he's got an understanding that we might not know.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was hoping for, right? So because I had ideas for a lot of stuff, because I had nothing to do. I had a lot of ideas for so many other stuff, but nobody listened to me. Well, but they forced me back into going to the mosque. They forced me back. And I was beaten again. And then one day I was at my uncle's house, and they had a book, a Quran. That Quran had a translation, a Farsi, Persian, which I could read and write, because I learned a little bit how to read and write. So I realized, what's wrong with this mullah? Why doesn't he teach me in Farsi, in my language? So why does he teach me in this another language? Why? And then I said, oh my God, because mullah didn't know. Now I'm going to teach him. I'm going to tell him that I'm going to tell this mullah, teach me in this. Why don't you teach me in this language? But the problem is, Charles, I didn't know it was against the religion to teach you Quran in any other language.
Right.
Okay, so I was so excited. Now I'm the next day. I'm so excited, taking my uncle's Quran to the mosque to tell mullah. How come mullah didn't know this? So I went to the mosque and told mullah, hey, teach me in Farsi, please. And that's when he started punishing me. He asked two students to tie my feet. They tied my feet with the rope and kept my feet up like that, and started beating on my soul with the stick. Okay, and from that day on, when I went home, I said, I'm done. I'm not going. The next day, when they forced me, I instead of going to the mosque, I went to the mountain. I was lost for 2 nights, and the mountain almost died before they found me. Sometimes that's how the price you have to pay in different forms. Not necessarily in the forms but different society, different forms. You have to pay the price if you wanna break away from conformity. You have to
get to greatness. You have to. There's some suffering that has to be done. Some sacrifices have to be done. What level are you willing to sacrifice to get to your goal, to get to your dream?
Exactly. And again, those sacrifices are the things that makes you stronger. It's the best university you could ever want to. But if you do it consciously, it is the best university ever. It teaches you. But back then I didn't know all of this. When I suffered at the same time. When I was resisting, I suffered as well. So, and when I came back, when they found me from the mountain, and then they said to go back again, I said, if you force me, I'm going to run away again. I would rather be eaten by wolves than living the life you guys are forcing me to live. And that's when they kind of they kind of left me alone.
Right.
But and after a couple of months, there was a school open, NGO school, a regular school with the regular subjects, and they said, okay, why don't you go there? I said, okay, great, I'll go there. And I went there, and they accepted me in grade 4. So my first day at this new school, and I'm so excited. So the teacher says, okay, this page, and we go to the page, and the subject, the lesson today is about wind, and the teacher says the wind is created by water. Okay, next page. I said, excuse me, sir, how does water creates wind? If I put a bowl of water in my room, is it going to create wind? I said, no, son, it's not like that. It's, okay, next page. I said, no, I really want to know. and he realized that I'm not going to give up. He said, okay, come here, my son. So I went in front of the class. He patted my back and told the rest of the class, and says, hey, this kid is the smartest student I have. So from now on, he's going to be the head student. Every time I'm not here, you guys have to listen to him. So I realized that he's trying to bribe me to shut up.
Right.
So I went home. The next day I told my father, I'm not going to that school either. He says, why? Because the teacher doesn't know anything. Now imagine a 9 years old going, 10 years old going, telling you, I'm not going to school because the teacher knows nothing. So you can imagine what happened then, so. But I didn't. I truly stood for what I believed from a very young age. Never, ever give up, no matter what the cost was. Because I believed that I can do that. But back then, there in that village, I didn't know what I wanted.
Yes.
All I knew, I wanted to walk, and I walked. The rest I didn't know, because we were surrounded by mountains. We had no idea that behind the mountain that there was another world. We had no idea. We have no electricity. We didn't have cars. We had nothing. Okay. So the next step, Charles, the whole thing changed when we tried to escape the war. So we wanted to go to, my parents got us all into 2 vehicles because we had a big family. We're going to escape the war, going to Pakistan as refugee. And that's when the vehicle that my mother, 4 siblings, and my father, my brother's wife, and their child, their vehicle, they were coming behind us. They went over a landmine.
Oh, no.
And that's when I lost my mother and 4 siblings. That kind of threw me off, because my younger brother were really dear to me, and I loved them. I wanted them to. If my father punished them, I would fight for that. I said, no, leave them alone, because I knew how it felt. So they were everything. I was their protector, and they were gone. And that was really hard. But when we moved to Pakistan, for the first time, I saw electricity, I saw cars, I saw paved road, I saw this fridge and TV, and I said, what the hell is this? How come we never knew about this? Why don't we have it? And I was about 11 years old, and that's when I made up my one of my wish list, my goal or my vision, that I want to travel the world. I want to see more.
Right.
Now imagine as 11 years old, doing all the stuff at home, and you go to your father and says, I want to travel the world. He obviously got mad and says, get the hell out of here. We don't have enough to eat, and you want to travel the world.
Travel the world. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That's how dreams are born, especially this 20%. I feel for them so much, because I know what they go through.
Right.
I know what they have to go through to prove themselves right. And that's why, unfortunately, more than 95% of businesses close, because we don't have a support, because we have big dreams. We go for it without any supports, and we cannot take it anymore. So that they corner us, they put us in a position where we have no choice but giving up. So that nobody trusts them. Nobody believes them. Charles, I hope if there's no teachers or somebody from the education system is listening to us, the school is great for that 80%, Charles. Yes. Perfect for the 80%. You teach them how to get a job,
right? But
how to be an obedient citizen.
But
exactly, that's a big one. But for this 20%, it's a prison.
Because they want to explore, they want to grow,
exactly.
They want to grow, do something different. I always said, teachers, we need our teachers, we need our schools, but they teach us to be someone else's worker, not be our own entrepreneur.
Exactly. And that's why, unfortunately, this 20% do not have the support. Now just think about it, Charles. Think about it. Think about one of these people. To make it more simple, and I usually tell parents who have problem with their child, I say, okay, let's look at it this way. Let's look at your child. He doesn't want to follow you, or she doesn't want to follow you. That's fine. Now you force him. You have to follow me, but he doesn't want. He wants to stray. He wants to go to the left or right, whatever. He wants to discover something new, because he believes there's something out there.
Something better.
So now imagine what you guys doing to him. So you guys are first of all forcing him to follow, and you warn him, if you don't follow us, you're done. I am the boss. This is my house. You have to follow me. So what you're basically trying to tell that your son or your daughter says, this place, if you ever go, do not listen to me or go the way you want to, you don't have a family anymore. That's what you're trying to tell them.
Twice the pressure.
Twice the pressure. Now, this poor kid now says, because he can't, that's how we are. We can't take this punishment anymore. So we do go, says, okay, what the heck? I'm going my way. I'm going to discover something
do it
new.
Anyways. Yep.
Exactly, because we believe in that, right? Now imagine, and this kid goes and he cannot find anything because, now he's tired. Now he's hungry. Now coming back home is the hardest thing for him to do.
Right.
But unfortunately, he has no choice. But he does come home. The minute he comes home, yelling and screaming starts. I told you so.
Yep.
Didn't I tell you not to go? And now imagine this poor kid, what goes through his mind and how lonely this person feels. And now just think the opposite. Just let's turn the table and says, okay, we have a really good parents and they really understand. Let's say if say, okay, tell your kid, okay, go do whatever you want. What is it that you want? I'm here. I am here. Now imagine what that kid can do in his life. Oh my God, when I find these kids, I want to give them a hug. When somebody says that I have a troubled child, that says, who is he or she? Let me give him or her a hug first. Because I know what you guys are putting that poor kid through. And that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. I've been through that over and over and over again.
All right. Now, with that said, we're going to take a quick break. But when we come back, we're going to get to know you a little bit more, have a fun game called Rapid Fire. We're just going to throw some questions at you. Don't go nowhere. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Hey, it's okay if you're driving or too busy to take notes. Charles has your parachute packed with all the info you need to jump into success. Check out the links section for all the tools you need to land safe. Now, let's keep falling with Charles and his special guest.
Yes, we're back. And it's time for Rapid Fire. What we're going to do, I need you to pick A, B, or C, my friend. And you got 2 minutes on the clock to just give us the answer. Whatever comes to your mind, you have like 10 seconds to explain if you want, or we can move on to the next one. So give me A, B, C, or D.
Is that for me, Charles?
Yep.
I'll go with A.
A. All right. Here we go. I'm going to put 2 minutes on the clock. Starting now. What is your favorite drink?
Water.
When are you most productive?
When?
Yep.
In the morning.
Who is your inspiration and why?
It's myself.
Like it. I like it. Summer or winter?
Both.
You got to pick one.
Summer.
Okay. What is something new that's happening to you right now that you're excited about?
I'm so excited in talking to you right now.
Yeah. What's your favorite number and why?
1. Well, because that's what I've always tried to do.
D number 1.
D number 1.
There you go. Favorite cake flavor?
Vanilla.
How do you start your day?
With being grateful for what I have.
What subject in school was the worst subject?
Math.
And then we got a final on a high note there. What subject was your best?
Geography.
Okay, last one. If you can go back in time and talk to anybody, who would it be and why?
My siblings who died because I believe I needed them more than they needed me.
Oh, beautiful, my friend. Beautiful. There you go. We've made it through rapid fire. Congratulations. So speaking of, you talk about the kids, you talk about the siblings. Let's talk about the school. I want everybody to know about that. Tell us a little bit about the school.
Well, I didn't have a whole lot of formal education. And the reason, as I mentioned before, even if in Pakistan they sent me to school, and from grade 4 to grade 5 or grade 3 to grade 4 for 1 year. And then I asked one day I wanted to ask the principal because I wanted to travel. And the reason I agreed to go to school is because I wanted to travel. They told me that if you go learn the language and all this, and you can travel. So one day I approached the principal. I said, when can I travel? And she laughed and said, well, my son, if you do this, do that, take the subject, study there, go to university and get a job. So she did the math and basically said, when I'm 40 or so, if I get lucky, then I'll travel the world.
40 or so, okay.
Yeah. And then I said, well, then it's not for me. Mm-hmm. I'm not coming from tomorrow. I'm done. So I went home and told my parents, I'm not going to school. Period. I said, because I want to travel the world. I believe, Charles, yes, education is really, really important in anybody's life. But you cannot disregard this 20%, the way they are. You cannot teach them, educate them based on the other 80% method or system that you have. You can't. You're not just isolating them, you're actually punishing them. The reason I didn't get a formal education because there is no system for this 20%. So I had to do it myself. I had to learn English myself. I had to find ways to travel myself. I had to find money to do everything by myself. And that's unfortunate because these people could do so much, not just for themselves, for the world. But they don't have, there's nothing, no support whatsoever. So I didn't have a formal education, but it didn't mean that I'm not educated. You know, my best education was every single day, what I learned out there. I learned from today, for example, Charles, you're questioning me, and your questions are teaching me. I'm learning. You know, everybody in our life, every situation in our life is the best teacher, and they constantly teach you. Yes, as long as you know how to listen to them and learn.
And you're willing to learn and take it in.
Exactly. Even if my father, my parents, my brothers not understanding me is trying to teach me something. You know, so universities out there everywhere. Not just a formal education, which you need if you want to function in the society. For 80%, it's great. For the 20%, it's a prison. Trust me.
Yes, as our viewers are listening, big shout out to Adam. Like he said, School of Hard Knocks.
Yeah, exactly. School of Hard Knocks. That's the best school. Best university.
Learn. By exposure, do what you got to do. If you can feel it, touch it, do it. You know what you can do.
Yeah, exactly. And by no means, Charles, we're downgrading the education system. No, it is for the majority. It is a great system. That's how it is. That's how it is supposed to. That's what it is designed. It is designed to create workforce. It is designed to create obedient member of societies. It is designed. If you're good with that, I'm happy. You're successful. If that's what you want, you are successful, and there's nothing wrong with that at all.
All right. Now, with that said, my friend, let's get to know a little bit more, and let's dive right into it. It's now time for Pick 3. It's now time for Pick 3. Before we end the show, you're going to ask yourself 3 important questions. So I need you to pick 3 numbers between 1 and 13. Give me 3 numbers between 1 and 13.
1, 5, 10.
1, 5, 10. Here we go. Question number 1. What's the one thing you wish you would have known before getting into this type of business?
How the mind works.
How the mind works?
Yeah.
Explain on that one.
Well, Charles, just think about it for a second. We everything is the mind. Everything is the mind. Nobody teaches about it. Nobody teaches about it.
Okay, I see where you went with that. If we knew how our mind thinks, then sometimes we realize that I'm a certain type of learner. I get that because I'm a visual learner.
Yeah.
If I knew that growing up, I think I would have been way further in school.
Yeah.
Some people are readers, some are visual learners, some need to hear it.
Yeah.
Me, I was visual. If the teacher didn't write it on the board, I was lost. If they were just calling it from a textbook, I didn't know what the hell they're talking about.
Exactly.
I love that. Okay. All right. Number 5. What have you read or listened recently that inspired you?
I like poetry. Poems that Persian poems are the most significant ones that I always listen to. One of the poems that this Indian poet wrote that I always remember, that always inspires me, it is using eagle and wind as a metaphor.
Okay.
And so this eagle is teaching what is the eagle? The eagle's what do you call the eagle's children?
The babies, yeah, the
chicks or the chick, whatever.
The babies, yeah.
The babies, the chicks. Trying to teach them, never fear the fierce wind.
Okay.
When you face it, because it is that fierce wind that takes you to the height. And whenever I face problems, Charles, that's what I remember. This challenge is trying to teach me something. What is it?
The strong wind is trying to teach you something.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Last question. Name 2 past or present people that you would love to shadow, follow, walk around, just how they learned, what they did. Who would you want to shadow? Famous, non-famous, past or present? Who are the 2 people you would want to shadow for 48 hours?
I would say Mahatma Gandhi, and the opposite, I would say Elon Musk. A different, totally two different.
One extreme to the other.
To the other extreme, yeah.
Because, so why would you want to follow those 2?
Mr. Gandhi, because of his strong belief, non-violence belief in himself and his nation. It is amazing what your belief can do. And Elon Musk, it is the same token. It's amazing what a belief can do. He believed in what he wanted to do, and he didn't care what other people believed or not. He didn't care what the world said or not. And he did what he wanted to do, and he went the whole 9 yards. He didn't just. None of them held back anything.
Right.
No matter what happened to them, and they both proved the world wrong.
So one shape or the other, one way or the other, it's both coming at you, but at different points in your life.
Exactly.
Beautiful. Exactly. My friend, it's come to the end of our show. I'm so excited that I had you as my first guest in the new year. It was a banger. Now, here's a couple of things I just want everybody to realize. It took him 8 years to walk. Not because he didn't know how to, not because he didn't want to. People around him wouldn't help him. People around him was keeping him down, but he had a fire in his belly knowing that he could do something. And when you have fire in your belly, you never give up. Okay. He kept going. Things happened. And until the age of 8, then he started to walk. Not only did he walk, he started to do what? Squash. He started to do champions. He started to do many things. Opening up schools, doing businesses. This is just a small part of his life. So I encourage you to hit the link and learn more what he does. But the main factor is, if you have a dream in your life, never give up. You're going to fight struggles. And this is why I loved about this show today is there's going to be struggles in your life. There's blockers. People are going to think, oh, you can't do it. Why do it? Why, you can't do that. The naysayers, that's what they're called. Naysayers. So here it is at the end of the day. What are you going to do when you have naysayers in your life? Are you going to listen to them? Are you going to let them take you down? Or are you going to move forward and jump? This is your opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, to get to that next level. Success is waiting. It's time for you to jump. Thanks for watching, everybody. My friend, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Thank you, Charles.
Hey, hope you had a great time listening to the show. If you think I did a great job, please buy me a coffee. I still got a lot of work to do. We would love to hear from you, your feedback, so please click the link and leave us a review. You can help us grow by following us on all social media platforms and sharing this link. Once again, it's time for you to jump. Success is waiting.